All right, so it's Sunday, and we're about to hit some legs. And I'm excited to finally have Dom train me and have Rodrigue film this, because every time that we try to kind of do some content to show you guys what we do, it's difficult, you know, if I'm filming him and I just perform a set and then he's filming me and I just perform a set, it gets a little bit sloppy because we don't want to take the focus away from the training, and at the same time we want to provide some information for you guys, so we kind of get a little bit of 50-50 there. So we just decided to do this much better now, right babe?
Absolutely. Having someone else there to be able to tape it for us will make sure that we can keep our focus into the exercise and kind of engaging with you guys in the camera as we go along.
Yeah, so tell me what we are gonna do today.
Well, today is gonna be like our leg day, but it'll be more of a quad dominant leg day. We will tap hamstrings a little, but most of the focus will be on...
Because we do have 2 leg days per week.
Yeah.
We do quads and then we do hamstrings, so today's quads.
But we will hit a little bit of hamstrings, but the predominant focus will be on the quads. We usually start off with a warm up. We do some mobility stuff before we get to the gym, which we'll talk about the importance of that and having good dorsiflexion, so you can have good knee flexion and why that's important to building great quads. We'll come in, we'll do a warm up, couple of kind of build up sets until we get to our first few top sets, and we'll do most of the compound exercises in the beginning, and then kind of finish off with some of the lighter accessory type work at the end.
Yeah, awesome. So what would you say is the biggest difference now that we are training off season compared to season, you know, prep?
I mean, I tell people this, like, the main difference, like where you want to keep it very, very similar, you don't want to deviate too much. So I would say the biggest difference in your off season, your food is higher, you know, you want to stay under certain progressive overload guidelines. I think something that's a big benefit, which if you would have asked me this, say 10 years ago, I would have laughed at it, is actually having a logbook. Now the reason is from working with elite level athletes for years, seeing that in certain points of their career, they start to hit plateaus. Well, if you go back and start to track their training performance closely, if they're lifting the same amount of weight for the same reps that they were 4 years ago, well, guess what? It don't matter what you're taking, what you're doing, your body's adapted to that.
Right.
You're not gonna get too much past where you once previously were. So it's about hitting certain benchmarks in the gym. And if you're doing that, then that's how your body's gonna change.
Yeah, but I think it's so interesting that Dom always says, it shouldn't change much, which we all have in our minds that when we are getting ready for a show, our intensity should be lower. Yes, to a certain extent, because we don't want to get injured, because we're not as powerful, you know, especially because the diet is also something that changes a lot the strength that you have in the gym, but it shouldn't be that different to a point where you're just doing a little, you know, pumps here and there, because that will take away from being, you know, super hard on stage.
Yeah, I mean, I could typically look at an individual without knowing them, and I could have a good idea how that person trains. You can take every drug under the sun, but there's a particular type of muscle tissue that comes from training a particular type of way. And
I think that's what we actually just watched Rising Phoenix yesterday, and it was so interesting because when, at least for myself, and I think that Dom does that too, because you told that before, I don't particularly look at the placing, you know, because it's so, you know, it changes pretty often.
And that's not what really dictates if a prep is successful or not.
Exactly. So when we were watching the competitors, we were like, wow, I love that physique. I can tell that person trains freaking hard. And that person perhaps got, I don't know, 7th or 8th or 9th or 10th or whatever the case may be. So there is no really placing. For us, it's like when we look at it and you can dictate, regardless of how conditioned the person is, you know, like, oh, wow, condition, yeah, condition. Everybody talks about condition, which can be very much manipulated by a few tricks on a peak week, right?
Yeah, in terms of like peaking and stuff.
Right, but the hardness that you get from, like, for example, the girl Angela, that my mind is blown away by that kind of muscularity in a woman, and she's still very feminine too.
Yeah,
you know, and then when you look at her training, it's just absolutely amazing, and so is Michaela.
Yeah.
That kind of level of training that I need in my life. So please kill me today.
Yeah. So no, with like bodybuilding, really, the thing that determines really how successful you are is look at where you once were like 3 or 4 years ago and then see where you are today. And those are the things that I'm truly like blown away and can appreciate the most. I know I seen a couple of girls that competed yesterday, even that Mela
Ash.
Like I seen, she started off
She got
fourth,
right?
which doesn't matter about her placing, but she started off in figure and grew from figure
amazing.
to women's physique. That to me is like incredible, you know, opposed to someone that they started competing and right off the gate they looked incredible and they kind of stayed at that place. People that are constantly improving their physique, those are the people that you want to pay attention to.
Because those are the dangerous ones.
Yep.
All right, guys, so let's get going. Leg day today.
So we're just starting off with our warm-up, and typically for a warm-up, in addition to the stretches we did prior to coming here, we'll usually start with just doing 2 sets of leg extensions, 2 sets of hamstring curls, and abductors. Very, very light for 10 or 12 reps. We're not fatiguing the muscle at all. We're just getting blood into the muscle, and then we'll start going into the meat and potatoes of the workout. So at the end too, we will finish with leg extensions again at the end of the workout, but at the end of the workout, we'll do them actually as working sets. Right now, we're doing them just predominantly as a warm-up. So same concept here. We're not doing this as a working set. She's just doing about 12 reps to throw some blood into the muscle. I do feel like when you warm up your hamstrings good, that if you have blood in your hamstrings before you go into a squatting type of movement, that you'll be able to perform them better if you promote a good amount of blood flow into your hamstrings and do some hamstring curls. Good, just 12 reps. Ooh. 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 Ah. Ooh. Ooh. Shit. Ooh.
Whew. Feels good. I love doing legs. And I love doing legs with Dom. Because he honestly kicked my ass every time. Every time that I'm about to squat, he always says, you can put 5 more. You can put 5 more pounds. And I can.
A lot of times you can physically do it, but your mind will tell you, oh no. So sometimes you need to have that.
No, I honestly think it's because you need somebody to be there just in case something happens, because it can happen. At the end of the day, you're putting 200 pounds on your chest, you're compressing, you know, your spine there. That is a little, it can be something that you put your foot kind of differently, and if you don't have that person to help you.
Well, that's why too, like when you're training alone opposed to with someone else, you could kind of alter the exercise selection. So let's say if you're training with a partner, you can go ahead then and do a free weighted squat because you know you have a spotter. If you're by yourself and you want to push the intensity, do it on a Smith machine.
Right.
That makes it a little bit more safer. You could put the safety racks on there and still be able to still train with that type of intensity without the risk of, you know, getting injured.
Yeah. But one thing that I put in my mind is that there is no more half-ass workouts. So I better come to the gym with the mentality that Dom is always here, kicking my ass. Because if I miss one day, it's one less day that I have to improve.
Okay.
Do I do one more or no?
No,
How
because
many
we're
do you
gonna, just 2.
Sure?
Yeah, all right, just take the bar and squat the bar for 12 reps.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're just gonna do 12 reps just to get used to the movement. So an important thing with like her training right now on the first 2 compound movements that we're doing, which we're gonna squat and hack squat, she's just warming up, and then after that, she's gonna do about 3 sets of just maybe 5 to 6 reps and gradually increase the weight. Now, she's only doing 5 or 6 reps so that she's not blowing through all of her ATP in these beginning sets, which when you go into the gym, believe it or not, there's probably only 4 actual sets in the gym that are physically changing you. And those are your top sets, you're working balls to the wall sets. So everything else is kind of leading you up to and priming you to go into those balls to the wall sets. So the last thing you want to do, which a lot of people do this, is on these first few sets, they start to burn themselves out a little bit. So by the time they get on those top sets, they're a little bit burnt out and it may only take away from like maybe 2 reps on the top set, but those 2 reps are the 2 reps that matter the most and that are gonna really help you take your physique to the next level. So now how I personally train is a little bit different since I don't compete anymore, but that's kind of like what she's doing on these target exercises. So now I'll go into my warm-up set. On the first like 2 or 3 sets, focus a little more on like a little bit of knee flexion. Like this, your toes slightly pointed out and letting your knees go past your toes. That's another reason why a lot of people can't get their quads to grow. They have terrible dorsiflexion. And what is dorsiflexion? A good way you can test it is when you squat down here, and as you squat down, see my heels are coming off the ground? That's how you know you have shitty dorsiflexion, okay? That's dorsiflexion. When you have good dorsiflexion, which that would mean pretty much ankle mobility, you're able to squat down and have your knees come past your toes without your heels coming off the ground. When you work on those things, you're able to isolate the quad so much better, and it makes all the world of difference.
Let me tell you something. Dom uses the bathroom
Someone's in
200
there.
times per day. I don't know why. What, babe?
What?
Did you use the bathroom already?
No, someone's in there.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, I'll go in that one.
Whew. Just warming up, just warming up. I gotta actually be a little bit more cautious because I tend to want to do more reps. For example, I was supposed to do 6 and of course I did 8 because I'm a bad girl. But the reason why I should be doing 6 is because I want to hold all of my energy, really my strength, for the last 2 sets, which are gonna be the last heaviest sets of the exercise here.
So on these first few sets, she's just literally squatting this for really no more than 6 or 7 reps, and slowly, gradually increasing the weight. This way, she's not burning herself out before she gets to the top sets, which are the ones that are gonna matter the most. So we're pretty much leading up to that, and her body's just getting acclimated to using slightly more weight on each set. How was that, good? So the next set, you'll go up to 225, which I'll actually let you go next again.
Yeah?
Yeah. rest for about minute and a half, but on her the last 2 sets that she does, she'll rest for at least like 2.5, 3 minutes. And I would say that's another mistake that a lot of people make. And I used to too, because I would feel like if I'm not pushing the whole time in the gym, like I'm not training hard enough, is not resting long enough on the last top sets. You know, on those top sets, that's your balls to the wall set. And sometimes an extra minute and a half of rest will make a difference of 1 or 2 reps, which those 1 or 2 reps are the reps that count. Just 6 reps, and this isn't too bad for her at all, doing this for 6 reps. 5. Good. Good. How was that? Good?
Yeah, good. Getting used to getting used to it.
All right.
I love that he's wearing my belt. Let's go, Amanda. Amanda's team. That's you, baby. An interesting thing that I started doing with Dom is really take my time for the compound movements. For example,
I was just saying that too, yeah.
I used to squat a lot, but I used to be on the clock, right? All right, I'm gonna squat. From squat, I'm gonna go to the hack squat. From there, I'm gonna go leg extension. And in my mind, I was always kind of on time.
Boom, boom, boom. I fixed,
boom, boom.
Trying to blow through it. Which
And
I personally love training like that. I enjoy
I do
training like
too.
that. The absolute
I do
most.
too.
That's my favorite style of training.
I do too.
But-
I honestly feel that if I wasn't into bodybuilding, I would be at the CrossFit Games. I really would. I love that stuff.
I mean, that's why like I train
But-
the way that I do now, like where I superset a lot of different things, just because I'm not trying to put on, 20 pounds of muscle tissue in a year. But for the people that are trying to do that, you have to kind of do these progressive overload type of
Now my
adjustments.
training completely changed. That goes from having that awesome kind of music rhythm on my training with, I just have to change the music now, you know? I need to go slow down. But I'm seeing way more progress in my physique doing what we're doing now.
Your
That's
legs
for sure.
grew like 1.5 inches.
Because if my legs grew, my quads grew. I just want to step on stage with a completely different physique. I want people to look and be like, she took her time and she really is presenting her best, not her best at a particular show, if that makes sense, you know?
Winning a show because it's a weak lineup, saying that she would rather, if she didn't win the show, but got on stage and looked at her last stage shots and looked at her legs and her back and was like, wow, I made progress.
It's
I see that, Phil.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks.
Of course I want to win, but I want to win first here. And I've never seen myself where I really want to be because I never really did the steps. But now that I am, if I just see myself the way that I have this vision of my body.
Make sure you breathe. On. Up. 1. 2. Good. 3. 4. 5. 6. Keep breathing. 1. 7. Come on, I got you on the spot. Come on. Good. Be careful, be careful. You did it.
Step today.
No, that was good.
The last one right there, I'm glad you saved me. And that's what I'm saying. If I was alone,
Usually you do this only for like 8 reps, but you did it for 10. So that was good. That was good. But again, like if she was to rest for like 5 minutes, watch, she'll catch her breath, let her ATP build back up, and then she'll hit another working set. I'll go and then we'll rest for a little bit and hit it again. So I would say another reason why that a lot of people don't make the progress that they intend to is because they change things up too frequently. That's one of the biggest mistakes. They'll start something, whether it's training, which when it comes to training, if you look at the best bodybuilders to ever grace the planet, they have actually done the same exact exercises for the last 15 years of their career. It's just, you know, if it's working, you know, don't try to fix something that isn't broken. And stay with the exercise selection that works best, and then just keep hitting it with a certain level of intensity. That's really what it boils down to. That simple, that boring. I know it sounds a little boring, but bodybuilding is a little boring. It's just kind of just being consistent with the same shit that's working.
and I think that goes a lot too for clients, for people who don't really understand what it takes to change their bodies. So they're constantly wanting to change things up. And it works perfectly for a coach that doesn't really have the best of interest of the client, you know, because they just want to show that they're doing something, so they're constantly changing things. So they show to the client, you know, that's worth their money. But in reality, that's not how things work, you know. It takes time for your body to learn the exercises. It takes time for your body to adjust as well. So let's go. Nice. Nice. Let's go. Breathe, baby, breathe. Breathe.
Now she squatted the 275 for 10. So this, if she can hit this for 6 or 7, that'll be good. One, breathe. 2, 3, that's it. 4, 5. Good, come on. Try to get 2 more, at least 2 more. Good, 1 more. Up. Oh.
So what would you say is the difference between squats and hack squats?
In all honesty, if I had to pick 2 exercises to packing on slabs of tissue on your quads, would be squatting, hack squats, and leg extensions. If you literally stuck with those three movements to build quads, those are 3 bread and butter that you can't go wrong with. I haven't hack squatted in a while because of my knee, so we'll get used to these. And people could see actually on this platform that there's a lever over there. Now that lever, how you could adjust the angle, that's for exactly what I was talking about you're able to kind of control how much knee flexion you have with that platform. The higher up it is, the more that you'll get a little more knee flexion. With me, I have to be careful because I don't have very good knees. So this is probably about the most that I can go to in terms of the angle of the platform.
So I see that your toes are pointing towards the side. Is that what you want?
Yeah, a little bit closer stance. Your toes slightly.
But you're also on a sumo.
Well, if it
that
was a
makes sense,
sumo,
your toes-
you're
no, I know
wider.
you're wide, but I can see your toes pointing left and right. Is that what you want?
Yeah, just because for me, if I was to do it here, which it would usually bother my knee if I did it that way. No. Good. Good. How's it feel? Good? Good, just 10 reps. Go ahead, lock it, you're good. Because you have to push hard on the last 2 sets. Good.
I'm not gonna lie, I feel my knees a little bit on this.
Oh, I know, that's
on this
why.
movement. I feel it. Not necessarily in a bad way, but it's almost like it's a knee workout.
No, but I mean, either for great quads, this or that, like, I think that's a pendulum squat.
Right here?
That's great. If anyone ever watches Chris Bumstead train, which he's got amazing quads, he lives on that machine and I give him so much credit. He could go on that thing and put on 7 plates and squat it for perfect form. So obviously the people that are having a lot of success, you see what they're doing. So he'll do that and he'll also do Bulgarian split squats and he's able to do them really heavy. And when you watch him, he has very good knee flexion. It's something that I want Amanda to get a little bit better at, but how she'll actually get better at it is actually outside of the gym doing more like kind of ankle mobility stuff. And when she gets better at that, that'll help her come in here and be able to do this stuff.
The important thing to remind everyone is that, you know, recovery is just as important as training. We often, especially Dom, I'm trying to find a 45 here, but especially Dom, he has a lot of clients that have issues performing in the gym because their knees hurt or their lower back hurt or their shoulders hurt. I also have quite a lot of patients at the clinic that have the same issue. So how is that a chef would be able to cook if their hands are cut? You know, it doesn't make sense. It's the same for a bodybuilder. How are you going to progress in the gym and really progress in your career if everything hurts? If everything is an issue, you know, every movement is an issue. Nice.
One more. Okay.
Two. E. Ooh.
Just do 3 more. Come on. Do 1 more. Push. Good. So a lot of times, like the exercises that you could in terms of exercise selection for athletes, a lot of times the exercises that you might not be very good at or weaker in, those a lot of times are the ones that you need to be doing because those are the muscle groups that have to be strengthened a little more, which that's okay. You just want to consistently work at them. Just get comfortable. Point your toes slightly out, okay? How was that, good?
No.
What do you know? Why, was it heavy?
Yeah.
So then
Did
lighten
not
it.
feel anything. No muscle connection, no nothing.
We're gonna pull
I mean, this
weight
is one
off.
of the things that I like to communicate with Dom too. As much as I want to do heavy,
I mean, she has to be feeling.
and I wanna be there, and I wanna do 5 plates, I need to be honest, you know, it wasn't a clean set. It was messy. Didn't feel any.
So that's good though. Then tell me.
Connection on my quads.
That's why I didn't want you to do 315.
I got it. And I'm humble enough to tell you, I'm not ready yet. All right.
Come on. Do 2 more. One more. Good. Lock it. Good. Okay, a Bulgarian split squat variation right here.
So would you say it's okay to have something next to you just to give you the
balance? Absolutely, yeah.
This will allow you. It's not really taken away from the
This will allow you to isolate your quads a little bit. You could actually also do this on a slight wedge. That will allow you to get slightly better knee flexion. Right here, boom. You want to keep kind of constant tension on the quad. This is very, very light, but just to try to keep that constant tension and get as much blood in there as possible. Boom, boom, just like that. Then you got yourself a bench there, rest it on. Another thing too that I like to do, so like I did my right leg, instead of me going right in my left, so I could rest a little bit, I'll let Amanda go. She'll do her right leg, and then when she's done with her right leg, I'll do my left leg. Good. How's that feel, babe? Good?
Yeah.
Good. She's got probably better, even dorsiflexion than me. Her heel looks good. She's keeping that constant tension. How's that feel? Good?
Yeah.
And these like we'll usually do for like 15, 12 to 15. So we'll do 2 sets here usually, 2, 3. And then I'll do my left leg.
That's nice. Now that one, I felt a connection. Much better than the hack squat. There is something about hack squat, babe, that I need to find out. I need to investigate, put less weight, perform more times, and really get the connections because I'm not connecting there. I'm not.
All right, so on the leg extensions, I know that we did them in the beginning, but we were doing them very light in the beginning just to kind of throw some blood in them at the end. We'll finish with pretty much 3 working sets. And if it's the last thing that we're gonna end with, we'll usually throw in some form of a drop set at the end just to completely burn out a little bit. All right, so we usually do about 12 to 15, but now on every 3 or 4 reps, I'm gonna hold it at the top here. So for 2 seconds, then a 3-second eccentric. 3, 2, 1, and then another 3, 1, 2, 3, hold, 3. Then 3-second eccentric, 3, 2, 1, again, 1, 2, 3. And then 1 more. That's it. Hold it on every 4th one. I feel like every 3rd one's kind of a, hold it. All right, 3, 2, 1, again, 4, 1, 2, 3, and hold. Slow, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1, good. Good. Now we'll go ahead and we'll probably increase the weight by at least 20, 25%, and we'll do 2 more sets of this.
Two more, let's go. 1, 2. That's it.
One other movement that we usually do on almost every leg day is, I know I'm like slobbering all over myself like a dog, is abductors. That I feel like is a movement a lot of bodybuilders underestimate. but that's super important because it helps close the gaps between your legs. I have actually 2 clients that have amazing legs, they do, but their legs kind of almost look very stringy a little because they have gaps in here. So abductors are really, really good and important to help close those gaps as well. Yeah. And this is just what a regular, typical off-season leg day would look like.
And so it's not a lot of exercises, but a lot of sets, heavy sets, a lot of time between sets to recover.
In the beginning stuff.
Yeah.
Towards the end, you could like kind of lower the rest time, and if you want to add in like an intensifier at the end, like a drop set or a superset, you could do that at the end. That's totally fine and cool.
But not at the beginning?
Not at the beginning, because you want to save your ATP and everything for those first few exercises, the compound exercise, and at the end, then you could add that stuff in. We add sometimes these things called challenge sets in, just some sort of intensifier.
Those are very fun.
Tons of different ones that you can. Those you could get a little creative and fun with as well.
Yeah, awesome. All right, guys, thank you so much. I know it was kind of short, but I hope that you guys got a lot of information, especially to build quads.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Next time.